coffee's so fucking good.
I gave you your meds, right?
Yes, you did. We are meted out. Right. I did. I was just about to ask if I went public. Thought I might have accidentally privated. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Appreciate it. Very kind of you. Very kind of you indeed. What it do? It do? It do? What it do with you? Mr. Zigo. Ah, yes, Mr. Zigo. The big 5-0. Not quite yet. I got another 6 years before the big 5-0. Thank goodness. 6 long, hopefully productive, wonderful years. And then 50.
We'll probably still have some cinnamon in your sugar by then.
You think?
Yeah. It's not going gray super fast. Like it started going gray a couple years ago, but it hasn't like taken over yet.
I don't know. I feel like right at the temples of my head, the gray is really getting there. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell. Do you think you'll ever start balding? I've started. You can see if I pull my hair back a little bit. So right here is receding a little bit, like here. This is farther back than it used to be. It used to be pretty straight across and down. Now it's a little pulling back a little bit. I just saw my dad yesterday. I'll probably bald like him.
He still has a lot.
He still has a lot of hair. It's just thinned. His hair has thinned a little bit, I would say, as he's gotten old. But he's gone like shock white too, like not just gray or silver or something. Just. Meanwhile, I'm 27 and rocking the Bernie cut if I didn't keep my head shaved. You should rock the Bernie cut though.
I do it for like Halloween or something.
Yeah.
Probably what Tim Pool got. He peeked under there.
That's what Tim Pool's got. He's got it all the way around. Get some messed up plastic surgery. No. No thanks.
You don't think you can take anyone seriously like at the plugs at this point?
No. I can't personally. I mean, it's up to them, but I can't stop staring.
Yeah.
It just looks so goofy to me. Grass doesn't grow on a busy field, is what my grandpa told me when I started balding. That's nice. That's real nice. I got white hairs all over the backside of my head, and I'm 24. Damn. I had a friend that started to bald out in high school. That's got to be the worst, man.
Because you don't even have a sense of self to
I
like
know.
separate from it.
Yeah. So fucked. Is Paul going to be working during his birthday tonight? Yesterday was my birthday, actually. But yes, I will be working tonight. My birthday is April Fool's Day. Dun 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 dun. Dun.
Yeah, you're not gonna take a day off the day after.
What am I, the Prince of fucking Wales or something? I'm getting no day off for your birthday, boy. Kidding me? I could probably count on one hand the amount of days off I've had on my birthday in the last 10,
Okay.
15 years, yeah. TJ Wood? Yeah, that's TJ. Do people tease you throughout your life because of your birthday? Not as much as you might think.
April Fool's is kind of one of those holidays that's like some people get a huge chuckle out of it. Most people are just kind of like meh.
My mom was a troll.
Yeah.
Like she would get us on April Fools with different things, but it wasn't just like angled at me to be mean. My parents knew better than to like fake me out with presents most of the time. I remember one year they did. They faked me out real good and I got all pouty. I think it was like 13 or 14. And I wanted a Discman in the worst way. They had just come out with the Sony Discman that you could like, you know, play your CDs on the go and whatnot. And they told me that they were looking for one, and then they gave me a present that was like a bag of socks or something. And they were like, "Yeah, we couldn't find that Discman, but next year." And I was like, "Oh, all right." And inside, I'm raging and crying, you know. And then they brought out the Discman. The yellow one, yep. Yeah, they faked me out. I got broccoli for my birthday once. Broccoli? Were you a real shit that year or something? Broccoli for your birthday. Yeah, you must have been a little shit that year. I can always remember certain gifts. Isn't that funny? Like you'll have these big ass Christmases and stuff. And I remember like the smallest gifts as my favorite. Like I remember one year I got the Downward Spiral in my stocking. And that was the only thing I cared about that year. Was getting that album.
You feel like arguing with Jon Stewart tonight about AI?
Was he anti-AI guy?
Well, he did like a big segment criticizing it.
I mean, I don't mind people criticizing AI. I'm not like sensitive, and it's not my best friend or something.
Well, I just
that
mean
I
like,
have to
would it be
defend.
interesting to respond to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely some things to critique about it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what he goes off on, but I would say that like the corporate ownership and like consolidation of AI technology is probably a big fucking deal.
Mm-hmm.
And deserves some like scrutiny. There's definitely things about it, you know. I just have been engaging with people on the is this art front for a while. Because in my mind, we're not going to stop this AI thing. We're not going to cork this bottle so it's coming one way or the other, and we have very little control over what shape that takes, if any at all. And so we may as well start like preparing our minds for living in a world that has that, and preparing ourselves for, what may come as a result of that. I don't see any reason to just whine about it and shit at this point. It's time to prepare to the best ability we can. Figure out how we can use it in ways that maybe weren't intended by the people who manufactured it. I mean, that'll be a thing.
You want a baldy?
Go get it. Give it to your mama. It's like I fetched myself. Artists will be made obsolete eventually. Sorry. No. Don't think so, but am I wasting my time putting stylus to screen right now? Absolutely not.
Well, it's like saying printing.
See, that would have been the
art.
same. You could have asked that same question about putting a pen to paper when the stylus fucking e-art thing started. There was a little mini heart attack over that shit too. Oh, this isn't art. It straightens the lines for you and it does things that you... Blah, blah, blah. Come on. We'll become our own artists. Yeah. I mean, this is yet another quantum leap in the accessibility of an art form. And there's going to be a ton of people who take up the reins to that and learn to do the maximal thing with it, make beautiful art. And then eventually, yeah, we're gonna be creating a lot of our own stuff. Could argue digital video editing employs artificial intelligence in the way of presets. I don't know if a preset is AI, but yeah, I mean, a preset is something that removes a lot of the tedium from video editing. Certainly a lot of the tedium that would come with editing like actual film. So if you're editing real film, you can't really cut a lot of corners. But if you're editing digital film, there are certain things that'll just be done for you. Like color correction can be done automatically or almost automatically, like push button with no sliders or dialing in. They make programs now that integrate with your video editing software that'll automatically find instances of curse words and dampen them or bleep them. We'll find mentions of certain words and add assets that you've tied to the mentions of those certain words. It's like, hey, you should subscribe, and then a little subscribe thing. Every technological advancement has opened doors to new, more complex forms of art than were previously possible, and that'll be true for this too. I mean, it already is true for this, I guess. Well, do you have dental problems? I do, and I'm afraid to go face the music. No. My teeth are okay.
We have some. Some cavities that.
I had to get a root canal last time I went. A cavity in my back molar that got bad. But I'll have like ongoing dental issues. My teeth are pretty funky. Like I spent a lot of years just sucking on coffee. I'm sucking on it now, and smoking, so they're good and yellow.
But yeah,
they're a little dingy.
You don't want to ignore teeth pain because that's awful close to your brain. If you have like an ongoing infection in your gums, you got to do it.
Yeah, you got to take care of business. Dental fear is real. Yes. Yeah. I don't fear it, but I can see why people do. Those teeth whitening strips actually any good? I don't really care, so I don't know. I would never try them. See, I'm like, if a person has one of those like ultra bright, like electric white smiles, it looks like an automaton to me. It gives me like a real twinge of uncanny valley. And that's tough because nowadays, more than ever in history, people are getting that shit done to their teeth. And so you'll see people walking around and they'll like, give you a friendly smile and it's like, bing, we are, and you're like, oh. I like some dingy teeth, and I like a crookedy tooth here and there too. I like a little like character in the mouth. It adds something to me. Yeah, the pearl white shit is weird. I mean, whatever. I mean, people are gonna look how they look, but I just like a person to look like a human being. Like if you're fucking like in your 20s or 30s or 40s or something, and you smile at me, I like it to look like you used your teeth at some point. That'd be nice. Not that you just have like a mouthful of insanely white alabaster choppers.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that doesn't say, like, hey, I've lived a little. Same thing with perfectly smooth skin. Yeah, I agree. Or just like people that are super symmetrical. Just ain't for me, man. I can recognize like the beauty in it, I guess, but I like character on a face. I like a person that's got like quirks and stuff. It's kind of how I remember people, honestly. Like if a person has a little funny thing they do with their mouth when they talk, or has a missing tooth, or, a gold tooth. I'm cool with that. Most people don't have perfect teeth. Yeah. Yeah, you're telling me. Not necessarily true nowadays. Yellow teeth ain't a problem, but don't wait for a tooth. And yeah. I'm not saying just sit there and let them rot out of your mouth. Brush your teeth.
But if they're yellow,
then don't worry about it. Nobody cares, really. In fact, there are a lot of people out there like me that when you smile and I see a yellow tooth, I'm like, yes. We've got a human being here that ate.
yeah, people apply beauty standards to themselves much more harshly than they do to others.
True. Your sheer horror at plastic surgery gives me life. Yeah, I mean, it really is creepy to me when people do weird shit to their faces to try and look young, and they don't look young, they just look oddly smooth. Like they still look like they're 80 something. They just have a weirdly smooth, stretched face that can only make one face. Biden would look a lot better with his turkey neck. Biden would have never, ever gotten elected if he had not had plastic surgery. If he looked like an 80-year-old fucking man looks, with the bald head that he's supposed to have, and the wrinkles, and the turkey neck, and the teeth, nobody would have, because people would have looked at him and gone like, damn, that's an old man.
Well, the thing is, he started way earlier. Like, he needed plugs when he got elected as a representative at 25.
Yeah. If you look at Biden in the 70s or 80s, he's bald as a fucking cue ball already. He's the Elon Musk bald. Just the hair on the sides, bald up top. And now he's got a full head of hair somehow, and an oddly smooth.
He's probably started facelifts like 20 years ago, honestly.
It's just such a fucking odd thing, dude. And it's like they're doing it for your benefit, too. It's like, so you can look at their smooth face. It's like, ooh. Keep it away from me, man. Put a little love in your heart. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, ah. Hello, you got your ball. Let me get it. Give me that ball. Give me that ball. You just came to show it to me? Okay. Oh, rebounded. Yeah. I know, that wasn't the best. That wasn't the best look. My apologies, D.
I like they match.
What?
You match them with your grinder.
Oh, my grinder and my pipe. Yeah, they do. Stars on the roof, they're matching with the jewels.
You know what? You could make a little business.
What?
Just little like finger cots for picking up your weed.
Like weed scooper finger things? Maybe, yeah. Some people use like little scoops. They won't like touch their weed. I'm a hands-on weed guy. You gotta feel weed to really get into it. I wonder whatever became of the Jewish people digging tunnels. Nothing. So what it ended up being was there was a sect of Jews going to that synagogue. It was a traditional, like, I don't know what you call it, fundamentalist Hasidic synagogue. And there were a group of people who were following one scholar in there who interpreted the Torah different. And the rabbi told them that they and their group were no longer welcome. And they felt like they had a right to be at the place. And so they dug a tunnel into it. So they went to like a business next door that one of them owned and dug a tunnel into the thing so that they could all sneak in there and do church. That's it. Oh shit, I do remember that. Yeah, there are still people talking about that like it was some kind of secret child sex smuggling tunnel or some shit. It's fucking retarded. Like we watched the video when people were speculating, what is this? What about these Jew tunnels? We watched a video on it because none of us knew anything about it. And by the end of the video, we said exactly what happened. We're like, oh, a radical offshoot group that got kicked out of the church for being too radical, that thought they had the right to be in the church anyway, that dug up underneath it to get into it at night so they could do their fucking rituals and shit. I remember saying exactly that at the end of the news story, and for days it was like, what did they find down there? Church? You mean synagogue? Yeah, okay, whatever. That was. Can I ask you a question? Was that correction really necessary? You understand what I say when I say church, right? Was that correction? Like, was that just like a momentary like rush of blood to the head so you could get a correct on me? Like, what the fuck was that? You could have said mosque. I could have. I didn't. I thought you were saying that Jews worship Jesus. Okay. Actually, Paul, it would be a synagogue. Pin a rose on my nose. Boop. I think the correction was necessary because if you don't speak perfectly, you're not allowed to have an opinion. It wasn't even a mistake. I was just using a general term. Church is 1 syllable. Synagogue is 3. That's all it was. Oh my God. I don't know why that drove me so nuts, but it did. Congratulations if you were trolling. You got me. You got me good with that one. You got me worked up with that one. And if you weren't trolling, my God, sir. My God, sir. I will not abide another toe. In the religious gathering area. Yeah. Can't wait for the first AI religion in the name of the floppy, the CD, and the hard drive, yeah. In the name of the kilobyte, the megabyte, the gigabyte, and the terabyte. Amen. They were building a golem. A golem. Yeah. That's an old Jewish folk tale, the golem. Guy who creates a golem using ancient Jewish magic to punish a man who comes to sweep his daughter off her feet or something and take over his little Jewish area of town. Kilo, mega, giga, tera. Kilo, mega, gigatera to you, sir. Ah, yes. Kilo, mega, gigatera to you as well. What you token on? Blue Dream, baby. Blue Dream. You take deep hits or small hits? Small, deep hits. What's your review of that Golem movie? I don't know if I can do a whole review of it right now. It's been a couple of years since I've seen it. But it is one of my favorite silent films. I'll repeat to, I'll repeat to, It's an old pre-code movie about the Golem. It's called The Golem. And it's an old silent film. Thoughts on thoughts on thoughts on thoughts? What drug you done, Paul Zigo? I want to know what drug you done. Would you like to see the literature for my religion book full of only ones and zeros? No, dude, it's just pi to the fucking 10,000th decimal. 3.14157876278923. You have to sit and recite pi to the 10,000th decimal once a day. That's how you pray. What religious text is most interesting? I've dabbled in 4 major religious texts. And I've read one all the way through. So the Bible all the way through. I have read parts of the Quran. I have read parts of the Talmud. And I have read parts of the I Ching. Of those books, I believe that the I Ching is the most interesting book. Have you read The Crayon? Old Testament. Old Testament. New Testament. The Talmud does have a bit of wild and insane shit in it, but so does every one of those religious books. The fart of humanity. I know, it goes on and on. It never stops. Not for a moment. Not for a hot minute. The Tao Te Ching and the I Ching are different books. Yes, they are. New Testament, what was wrong with the Old Testament? It got old and crusty. There were some rules in there that the holy men didn't want to follow, so they had to get rid of it. They had to invent a character that freed us from all of that. And so they made a Christ. Behold a new Christ. Behold the same old horde. Gather at the altar ring. New beginning, new words. And the word was death. And the word was without light. The new beatitude. Good luck, you're on your own. What of the pious, the pure of heart, the peaceful? What of the meek, the mourning, and the merciful? All doomed. All doomed. Which song is that? That is The Doomed by A Perfect Circle. Bum 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 shh. Behold a new Christ. Fuck the doomed, you're on your own. All doomed. Was the dude living in the giant fish the Old Testament? That is Jonah and the whale, and yes, that is the Old Testament. Gotta live Maynard, man, just casually in 3 bands and has a vineyard. Yeah, I know. I know, bastard. Stupid, creative, productive bastard. Favorite major pizza chain? Does Papa Murphy's count? It should. Papa Murphy's. Easily. Of course, it's a take and bake place, so somebody's probably going to go like, that doesn't count. Behold the same old horde. Gather at the altar ring. New beginning, new words. And the word was death. hold the same old horde. Gather at the altar ring. New beginning, new word. And the word was death. Big Mac or Big Gulp? Big Gulp. Gluck, gluck, gluck. TJ got me this hoodie for my birthday. It's a Flamin' Hot Cheetos hoodie. It's like an all-over print hoodie with all the Flamin' Hot Cheetos bag art on it. Chest for the cheetah. It's dope. I wore it yesterday for my birthday dinner when I went out with my family. And I got 4 compliments from perfect strangers. They're like, I love your sweater. I was like, thanks. Yeah, it's super colorful. It's got like flames down this arm, you know, from the bag, like the flaming. Yeah, it's nice. It's cool. How was your birthday? It was good. It was nice. I got to see my great aunt, who I cannot believe is still alive, and it is always so good to see her because she looks just like my grandma did, and I miss my grandma so much. She's my grandma's little sister. My great aunt. I hadn't seen her in over a decade. I had to see my favorite aunt from when I was growing up. I hadn't seen her in over a decade. And then the day before that, I got to see my cousin who's around my age. How old is she? My great aunt? She's pushing 80 now. She doesn't look it though. When she walked up, I was shocked. When I heard she was coming, because the last time I saw her 20 years ago, she was a little old lady. And so I thought, man, I bet she's on a walker and stuff. Nope. She literally doesn't look like she's aged a day. She's exactly how I remember her 20 years ago. How the fuck does that happen? I asked her. It's like, what are you doing? She's like, I don't know, PJ, nothing really. Keeping myself busy. I was like, yeah. Clearly keeping yourself busy. So that was really cool. She's still mobile and mentally sharp. Yeah, I mean, same. Yeah, she was still very, very like mentally acute and present, and she's her old self. Like there was a family sitting behind us at the restaurant that had a baby that kept looking at her, and so she was waving at the baby, and then like I went to pee, and when I came back, she was up at that table talking to those people holding the baby. I was like, how did that happen? When have you ever seen that? Somebody handing a baby to a perfect stranger that you just met in the Red Robin. When do you see that shit? Like never? Does everybody in your extended family call you PJ? Yeah. Yeah, so like my aunts, uncles, cousins, yeah, all those folks. I'm PJ because my dad is Paul or Polly is his nickname. So they call him Paul or Polly, and they call me PJ. Pajizzle, pajazzle, parizzle, parazzle, padazzle. Hey, Paul, my job might be getting a union. I'm excited that I might be a proud union member. Power to the people. Good, man. That's very exciting. I hope it goes through. Hope you guys get a good contract. Talked with my dad a little bit yesterday about his union stuff, and he really outlined pretty stark terms like what it was that caused him to give up on unions. And for him, it was just corruption, pure and simple. Like if he was brought a grievance and he could mediate the grievance there within the factory, everything was fine and everybody was happy. But anytime that the company was not willing to ameliorate a grievance, he had to take it to the national. And the national union would send this big black guy called Phil Wallach, who was the national GMP union rep. And my dad said that he said his last name like with a W. He would call him Pocky. He said the dude weighed 500 pounds and was like a 6'7" black dude. And he would show up. And my dad told this story. He said the first time he had to call in the national to ameliorate a grievance, Phil Wallach shows up. Pocky, here's what's gonna go down. We're gonna sit at the table with this person and the company rep. I'm gonna make a big fuss, but at the end of it, we're gonna agree it's time to let this person go. And my dad was like, what? Let a union member go but why? That's just the way this is gonna go, Pocky. And my dad really had no power to do anything about it. And so that's why he quit. That's why he lost like faith in the union process. And I can guarantee you that's still a thing. Yeah. Phil was the guy that smoked like a freight train and had a meeting with my dad while shitting. Yeah. I've told that story. That's my dad's favorite Phil Wallach story. He went into the bathroom to poop. Phil Wallach came in, sat down in the stall next to him, started loudly shitting. And was like, Pocket, let me tell you something about this now. We're going to have to... My dad said it was the grossest fucking thing. The worst smelling shit he's ever smelled. Yeah, he said he did that when they were like in Sacramento for like a big national union meeting, or like a California level union meeting. Total power play. Oh my God, yeah. It's like, you will listen to me. You will be with me when I digest, and you will be with me when I eliminate. You will smell the bounty of my loins while I give you orders. Oh yeah, the Joe Beaver story. Yeah. What kills solidarity and makes union people into corporate toadies? The same thing that turned progressives into rank and file Democrats that vote for the Iron Dome. It's money and influence. Cash moves everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar, dollar bill, y'all. Yellow diamonds in my Jesus. Let me ask you guys a question, since I got 116 of you here. Have you, now I'm pointing at you, have you joined discord.gg/Paul? Discord.gg/Paul? I'm the Paul on Discord. Discord.gg/Paul. Have you done it? Sound off if you've done it. Sound off in the chat if you've done it. I want to see you. Sound off if you have got your Salt Rackus citizenship. Do it. Do it. I'm telling you, and I'm not even joking, people that are in there will verify. I'm in there every day. Every day. For at least a couple hours, chilling, talking, smoking, joking. I'll be in there today. Discord.gg/Paul. You didn't know I had a server? Well, now you know, and knowing is half the battle. No, I tried, but your mods preemptively banned me. Cool. You must be a real dickhead. I'm glad you didn't get in. Discord.gg/Paul. Mods doing their job. I'm eating soup right now. Good for you. Soup is good. Soup is good eating. You really have to be trying to get banned. Yeah, you just make sure you read the rules when you get there. They're short and they're really easy to follow. And as long as you follow the rules, you won't get banned. Rule number 1 is the most important rule because it's basically all of the rules wrapped into one. Rule number 1 is respect the vibe. You come into the room and there's a spirited debate going on, fine, jump in, get spirited. If you come into the room and we're smoking and joking, don't come in with an agenda. Don't come in trying to rile everybody up. Okay, respect the vibe. That's it. That's all you got to do. Discord.gg/Paul. Yeah, I've been to several Raiders games. All of them at Oco Stadium, except one. I went and saw them play the LA Rams at their home stadium. But I've been to Oco Stadium 3 times for a Raiders game. So I think I've seen 4. And they are always fun if you're a Raiders fan. If you don't have Raiders gear on and you aren't repping the silver and black, you don't have your pirate patch or whatever the hell you got to do to signify you're in the gang, you're in trouble. But I'm not in trouble because I'm a Raiders fan, see? How drunk did you get? The last time I went to a Raiders game, I got obliterated. And I'm talking fucking funky chicken, wobbly legs, obliterated. And I had the time of my life. It was great. It was fucking fantastic. Bro, we tailgated, right? And my mom is insane. There was ribs and hamburgers and hot dogs. I mean, the whole thing, right? She's feeding people walking by, Raiders fans. Hey, get a hot dog. You know, it's great. We're drinking beers. We're just slamming beers. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm good and toasty by the time we start making our way to the gate to go into the fucking game. I'm already toasted. I'm already like, good. Did you knock over any trash cans? I did. So I'm going up to the gate, right? And there's this group of Hispanic dudes with no shirts on standing next to the gate. And they're passing this bottle around between them. And the bottle was one of those, like, you know, you buy like the mixers. So no alcohol in it when you buy it. But you're supposed to, you know, mix it with like whatever it is. Tequila, you mix a margarita or whatever. But they had made it in that bottle. You know what I mean? They probably like poured out half of the juice and just filled the rest of it up with tequila. And so they were passing it around and they were just drunk. They were like, oh man, I can't drink no more. And they were like, we can't waste it. And I don't know why, but one of them saw me and they instantly recognized how drunk I was. And they were like, white boy, come here. And I was like, okay. Stumbled over to them. They were like, here, help us drink this. We can't take it in. And I was like, okay. And they were like, drink it all if you can, man. We're done. There was like half of it left. I just went. They were like, yeah. And And I immediately tasted that that was like 80% tequila. And I was like, uh-oh. And then I don't remember the game. I was told that I tried to get up and get in a fight. Not because I was mad at anybody, but because I saw one break out and I was like, hell yeah. Some people were like, no, Paul, no, 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 no. You don't want to do that. And then at one point, somebody had to walk me to the bathroom. They had to walk me to the bathroom, and I kicked over a trash can on my way out. I was like, Raiders! I kicked over a trash can. Oh, shit. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. That's how you're supposed to do a Raiders game, though. It's got to be a little bit dangerous. You got to get a little crazy. You got to get a little fucking over the top, you know? Hey, wide boy. Edgy, I guess. Raiders fans are a little edgy, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. But with other Raiders fans, no, dude. It's like a brotherhood or a sisterhood over there, man. That's why I wanted to jump in that fight. Because I saw a Raiders fan in there swinging. I was like, hell the fuck no. Yeah. Was never a fan of all the gang affiliation with Raiders fans. Suck it up. Don't be a little bitch about it. We Raiders fans like it. We love the negative associations. We thrive on it. Just win, baby. We want you to hate us. We want you coping and seething when the silver and black runs out onto your home field. We're going to foul you. We're going to rough your kicker. We're going to rough your passer. We're going to lose more yards than we gain in the first 2 quarters of the game, probably. We're going to rough you up. We're going to make you hate us because we just win. Broncos Nation, shut up. Get out. Get out. No Broncos fans, okay? That's a rule. You should know better than to say the word Broncos in front of a guy wearing a Raiders shirt. You believe the temerity of these fucks, babe?
What?
One of them just brought up the fucking Broncos to me while I'm wearing a Raiders shirt.
Oh boy.
You get your ball. You get your ball, D. Oh. No. Give me the ball. No. Okay. It's okay because I didn't want the ball anyway. Paul once took a beating for insulting the Broncos. I did. Yeah. At my first fist fight, I guess my first real fist fight. My first fist fight was not a proud one. It was not a proud one. I beat up a kid that was a grade below me, but only because he wouldn't stop coming at me. And I don't even really count it as a fight, honestly, when I talk about my fights. I don't even count it as a win. It didn't feel like a win. But he was asking for it, and I had to punch him a couple of times, you know, to get him to stop. And then he cried. And then I got in trouble for it. Was it Sean that you beat up? Yes. He came at me at school. He was a grade level behind me, so he was smaller than me. And he was like coming at me, flailing his arms and stuff. And I tried to shove him a couple of times and he wouldn't go away. He kept trying to pester me with it, so I punched him in the face. And he fell down on the ground and went, ooh. And then a teacher ran over and blew the whistle and I was fucked. Had to go to the office. Had to have a meeting with my parents later that week. Blah, 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 blah. That's the Twompet kid, yes. That's the Twompet kid.
Question is, was it an SE Sean or an SH Sean?
It was an SE.
Those are little fuckers.
Shawnee.
Those SEs, Sean's.
Yeah. You're right. Because I have like a cousin that's an SH Sean, and he's cool as fuck. But the SE Sean's, you're right. What happened to Sean? I have no fucking clue, to be honest with you. Yeah, he was Mr. Everything Poof, called me P-Way. He had that, like, I don't know what you'd call it. I know there's a name for it. I call it, like, Cindy Brady kind of speech impediment that little kids have sometimes, where it's like a W thing. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. It's kind of like almost baby talk. Twompet instead of trumpet. The R's become W's, kind of, and that's why P-Way was a thing. I don't know. Tweety Bud is how he would say it. They will say bud instead of bird. They have trouble with their R's, I think, for some reason. But usually people outgrow that. Gwem Weepa. Yeah. I saw the Gwem Weepa P-Way. I don't feel bad making fun of him a little bit for it because he was a little shit. And he deserved it. I also broke his arm one time. So I fucked him up real good one time. But he was trying to do the undoable, dude. My dad had just bought hay for Sugar Baby, our horse. And he would buy like 100 bales of hay, right, for the year. He'd buy it in bulk. And we had a haystack, right, that had a tarp over it. And we could climb up it and get on top. And it wasn't super tall, but it was probably us one story up. It was probably 10, 11, 12 feet off the ground at the top. And I was up there with my friend Kevin, and we were playing military stuff. So we were pretending to be scouts and snipers up on top of the hay bale stacks. And Shawnee came running over, and he's like, "Hey, I want to play." And we'd stopped playing with him because he did the everything proof thing. When we played soldiers, he would never die. He would never give up a point if you got him. He was everything proof. And so we were like, "We don't want to play with you. Go home." And he was like, "I want to play." And I was like, "We don't want to play with you. Go home." And he was like, "I'm coming up, Dale." And I was like, "If you come up here, I'll throw you off. You're not allowed on my dad's haystack." And he was like, "I'm coming up, Dale." And I was like, "You better not." And he started climbing up. As soon as he got to the top, he stood up with a shit-eating grin on his face, and I went, and he went, it was fucked. Hit the ground all wrong, broke his arm. Woo! His dad came running over. I got in trouble. The whole fucking nine, man. The whole nine.
He's lucky he got away with just a broken arm.
I fucking warned him, did I not? Told him we didn't want to play with him. Told him he was not allowed on my dad's haystack under any circumstances and that I would throw him off. The fact that you were a middle-class kid with a horse is wild to me. I know, right? You don't see that anymore. I mean, she wasn't like a competition racehorse or nothing. She was a retired plow horse from a farm who was a little bowbacked because she worked her whole life and she wasn't real good to work no more, but she was still healthy and young. And so we adopted her, and it was pretty cheap. But yeah, I mean, we had the land to keep a horse. That's really the shocking thing, honestly. the land is really the most prohibitive thing about having a horse, because you can't just have like a little pen for a horse. And she was a rescue horse, yeah. The food alone, well, I mean, we fed her well. She got oats and she got hay, and yeah, the food bill was probably pretty fucking high. It was my job to feed her for a lot of my childhood, and she ate, man. I had to make 2 trips when I was little to feed her. I'd go to a hay bale, I'd cut the things like my dad taught me. I'd grab a square, off of a bale, just lay a square down, carry it over, put it in her thing, then go back and get another one, put it in her thing. Especially in California too, not cheap for land. Yeah, really, really like premium land too, like good farmland. Bald's childhood pet horse is he is enemies with a certain horse lover. My dude, who are you talking about? Yeah, sugar baby like getting drunk. Animals don't have any natural like liver enzymes to break down alcohol, and so it doesn't take much to get a big old animal drunk. And sugar baby loved it. It's not a good thing to like feed a horse a bunch of alcohol; they'll just die. But like, my mom would sit down there, like around. She had like a little fire pit thing that she built. It was kind of next to part of sugar baby's pen, and she'd sit there with a group of people, and sugar baby'd come over and like stick her head over the fence and nuzzle at the beer can, man. My mom would give her like a handful, and she'd do 2 or 3 handfuls, and she was wee. Yeah, I'm one of probably the only people on the planet that can say that I've ridden a drunk horse. You ever ridden a drunk horse? You ever met somebody that's ridden a fucking drunk horse? Probably not. Well, now you have. Hi, my name's Paul Zigo. Nice to meet you. Oh, she would whinny. When she got drunk, her lips would like, how they show off their teeth? And the lip comes up. She'd get all excited. She loved it. She'd like wander over to her salt lick and like, with her lips up. She was happy. She loved that shit. She'd come back for more. I have an irrational fear of getting bucked off a horse and paralyzed like Christopher Reeves. Yeah, I mean, it could happen. It could definitely happen. They're very powerful animals. That's the first thing is, after I get done telling you I rode a drunk horse, let me give you some horse advice. No, but horses, like, you can't be fearful of them. They are super intuitive animals. They read fear in your eyes. They can smell it on you. They have, like, literally, they can smell the pheromones that you give off when you're fearful of them, and it makes them nervous because they think you're going to attack them. And so you have to be calm with horses. You have to let them take the lead in a lot of your interactions. You cannot move a horse around if you don't know that horse. You let them touch you. You let them smell you. You pet them on their snout. You slap them on the neck. You pet their mane a little bit. You slap them on the rump a little bit. They like that. Those types of touches let them know that you're a good person and that you're self-assured and you're not afraid of them and you're not going to abuse or mishandle them. Once they trust you, a horse is pretty good. My understanding with Christopher Reeves is that he was hurt doing equestrian, which is stunt riding, basically, where you do a series of jumps and tricks and stuff. And the horse got stressed out and didn't feel like it was going to make a jump and bucked him, and rather than take the jump, and he broke his neck. And, you know, you really have to be smart with these animals. You can't fuck with them. because they will kill you. I had a friend. Whoa, the wind is blowing my my new umbrella. I got an umbrella for out here, which is kind of nice, honestly, because I need it. It's a very like necessary piece of equipment for me streaming out here because it keeps the sun out of my face. I got a my bub umbrella. Horses are very smart and good senses. Yes, they are. I've fallen off a horse a couple of times, including the aforementioned drunk horse incident. I was lucky probably that I was a kid. Kids are made out of rubber for the most part. But I had a friend whose little brother got kicked in the face by a horse because he just came up behind it, didn't announce himself, and touched it. And that horse took 1 foot and kicked him. Broke his fucking skull. He had to wear a special fucking helmet to put his skull back together, and he had developmental difficulties for the rest of his life. Horse kicked the fucking future right out of his head. Pretty fucked. You gotta respect those animals. Kicked his normal future as like probably a husband and a father and a worker right out of his head. Special needs for the rest of your fucking life. In a minute. Over. Damn, bro, your horse stories alone. I know. Country shit, man. When you grow up out in the country, some shit happens out there that don't happen in the fucking inner cities. Sad as hell it was, yeah. Remember, my friend's name was Ted. I do not remember what his little, no, that was his name. The little kid's name was Ted, and my friend's name was Matt. Ted. His little brother Teddy was about the same size, or about the same age and size as Sean. And he was like a little tag-along kid. He was pretty cool, though. I don't remember him being that much of an annoying little brother. But yeah, that was fucked, man. Yeah, that same dude. So his dad, I could probably tell you the name of his fucking dad, but I won't. No, because that was a different guy. See, I'm getting my fucking, these are my like childhood friends, and I turned 44 yesterday, so you have to forgive me. I'm getting my two friends mixed up. But yeah, I got into some wild shenanigans with my rich friend. I had a rich friend. His name was Tommy Riley. You can look him up. Not him, but his father, Tom Riley Sr., was the superintendent of schools in Madera County for a number of years. He was a real rich guy. And I was friends with his son. His son and I were in the same grade level. Or actually, I think I was a year ahead of him, but we weren't separated by a whole year, so we were close. And I'd go over to his house. He had his dad was rich as fuck. So his dad had all the video game stuff, or had bought him all the video game stuff. He had a Neo Geo Gold. He had, all of the consoles and all of the cool games for the consoles and stuff. So I loved going over his house. And my parents would let me go like on day trips with the family and stuff because our families knew each other. And we went up to Hensley Lake, which is pretty close to where I live now. Probably like a 45-minute drive from where I'm at now. It's up in the foothills. It's just a nice big lake with, people would take their boats. And his dad had this boat with two big V12s on the back of it. Two. It was a speedboat. It was called Fat Chance. It was just like two big chromed out V8s with fucking pipes that fire would shoot out the back of when he got on it. And it sounded like a goddamn fucking helicopter or some shit when it ran. It was fucking the loudest thing. But it was so much fun because, two V12 fucking boat motors on the back of this thing. It could get up and it could go. Well, I remember one time me and Tommy were up at the lake with his dad, riding around on Fat Chance, and his dad went to the truck and brought out the banana. No, not it's not what you think. The banana is an inflatable water sports tool that is now illegal in the United States. You can't buy them anymore for the very reason I'm about to describe to you. It was a thing that you straddled, right? An inflatable thing made out of thick rubber that you straddled. It had handles on the front of it and a tow line at the nose of it so that you could hook it to the back of a boat and it would pull you around, and it sat two, so there was handles right there, and then somebody would sit behind you, handles. So I was behind Tommy was sitting in front, I was behind, and his dad was pulling us with Fat Chance, dual V12 boat, right? So we're on the banana. Tommy's in front, I'm in back. We're holding on to the handles. Fat Chance is pulling us. And his dad, we're whooping and hollering, and his dad's looking back to make sure that we're okay. And we're going, go, 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 faster. So we're like, wow. And at a certain point, going fast enough on that banana, and it's two boys, like we weren't full grown adults. That was another thing. Like, we were not supposed to be on it, because the weight of two adults kept it from getting airborne, right? But two little boys on it, not so much. So we're like, yeah, we're whooping and hollering and egging him on, and he makes a wake, right? And then he turns, and we're like, whoa. And then he goes back over his wake, right? So he builds up a bunch of speed immediately. It's like, and we're like, whoa. And he hits the wake, right? And his boat goes, because it's fucking like 2,000 pounds worth of fucking fiberglass and steel, right? The banana hits the wake at what I have to imagine is probably 60 miles an hour on the water and goes, no shit, airborne. And I just like lost my grip on it and went tumbling fucking through the air, hit the water, and went blank. Like literally lost touch with reality. Right? Came to a few seconds later, and I'm underwater, and I can't tell which way is up. The impact has knocked all the air out of my lungs, so I'm sinking. Like a fucking sinker that dropped off a fish line. I'm like, I can feel myself going down, and so I swam against that. Dude. That close. And then the sharks came. Nom, 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 nom. Still sounds like fun. Oh, it was a fucking blast, bro. I remember as a kid, I wasn't even spooked afterwards. I wanted to go again. They were all freaked. People at the shore said I was fucking going end over end in the air, and I hit the water like face first. Just. Did you ever date your friend or not like that? No. I mean, we were little, so dating was not even a thing. I was probably 8 when that happened, I'd guess. But yeah, no, I did have a thing with a biologically at the time male friend of mine. She ended up transitioning later in her life, but he was my first little proto relationship or whatever. I say he because that was anyway. I never quite know how to do that right. I grew up with a trans person who at the time was presenting biologically male, right? But I don't know. I don't know how to handle that sometimes when I talk about us back then. I guess it's really not as complicated as I'm making it in my head, but it is. It's tough for me because I feel like I stumble on it. Like I go like he, she, they. What do I do? But yeah, that was my like first relationship, not relationship, but my first little proto romantic thing was with that friend of mine. Got to be able to refer to them in the past tense as they were. I don't know, because this is a person that knew their whole life like trans people do. Proto crush. Well, I was little, so I was like 6, 7, 8, 9 when they and I were, friends and kind of a little with extra sometimes. So we were not like old enough really to even have that sort of thing. I mean, we did, but it wasn't like it didn't come with like the complexity of later on like teenager relationships, right? She knew she was trans back then, at least. Yeah, she knew. Well, I talked to her after she transitioned. Because we'd lost touch for a long time, and then she got in touch with me, and we hung out. This was probably a decade ago now. It's been a while since I've seen her. But yeah, we got back together and hung out all day, and she told me about it, and I kind of picked her brain. She's a very open book about it because we were best of friends back in the day. And we kind of talked about, how we were back then and how she felt back then, and how, she knew from a very, very young age that she was not a little boy, and that it was really, I started to get sad because I thought about her when she was a teenager. She really tried to ramp up the masculinity. You know what I mean? She was a small person, like very small in comparison even to me, right? So me, I grew into a 6'1" guy. My friend is, I think, about 5'3" is where she stopped growing, and she was there all through high school, and it was real rough on her, and so she got very like masculine, grew a beard, and started driving a truck, and started like dressing in the kind of cowboyish kind of tight jeans thing, and was really into like like would overtly come up with like girls that they had crushes on, but would never make a move on any of them. And when you went into their bedroom, there were posters of like Cindy Crawford and what's her name, Tyra Banks, you know, but she was gay. Well, I mean, I see it. That's the thing, is I don't know how to talk about that. She was attracted to men, but because she was in my bedroom and other boys' bedrooms and saw that we might have a swimsuit model poster up or a cool movie poster that had a hot lady in it, they did the same, right? And I started thinking about those things, and I just got so incredibly sad because it all clicked. There was always, and I don't mean it in a negative way, but there was always something about her that caused other people outside of our group to be dismissive of her. It was like people knew without knowing almost that she wasn't comfortable in the skin as she was presenting it. And because us close friends, we had known her our whole lives, right? Was this the person that threw a dirt clods at the bully? Yeah. Yes. My best friend when I was little, all the way up through like high school. We kind of lost touch around senior year of high school, and they moved away, and I moved away, and so yeah, really rough, and really ugly, and like that changed the way that I thought about trans people. I was never like a bigot, or at least not in my mind, against trans people, but I did make edgy jokes about them and stuff. And it wasn't right away. It wasn't like it changed my life, but knowing her gave me perspective on it. And really, like just a couple of years later, when I started doing Drunken Peasants and stuff, I would make trans jokes sometimes. And her face would always pop up in my head. She was like my conscience with it. She was like, why are you joking about this? Look how hard she struggled to just be who she is. Look at how hard that was. Why would you want to make other trans people feel that way? And so I just had to stop. I had to learn to stop making those kind of mean jokes at trans people's expenses. Not that you have to treat every trans person like they're a Fabergé egg, because they're not. And it is okay if you know a trans person to make those types of jokes, maybe in a limited context with them as a friend, but not openly and at their expense in front of a big audience. Not anymore, at least not out of me, you know. And knowing her, I think, was really a key. That's one of the things. It's like trans people are so rare that you might live your whole life and never know one. You'll probably pass a couple or be in the same room as a couple, or maybe even have a trans friend of a friend of a friend. But for you to like know intimately a trans person is pretty fucking rare. They're like 1% of the population. So you could very easily go your whole life and never really know one. And I think that is part of the problem with acceptance of trans people. That, you know, like when you read about trans people, like trans teens coming out, and a lot of these stories are coming out now because it's a lot more accepting environment for trans people now than it has been at any point in American history, maybe world history, especially, well, Western history, we'll put it that way. You know, you'll see, you know, conservative parents become trans activists when their son, who was born biologically female, or their daughter, who was born biologically male, comes out and and they see how liberating it is for them to be able to live as they feel. They drop the bullshit and they become trans activists and trans advocates and trans allies. But you can't give everybody the benefit of that, right? It didn't even take a child for me. It took a childhood friend who I hadn't seen in years and years and years, you know, for me to really start thinking about what I was putting out there in the world with regards to trans people and how it might make them feel. You know, how do you give people the benefit of that? I feel like a lot of people just have never had that, and they don't humanize what's going on, or they don't know kind of what it is. I think a lot of people are just maybe ignorant and think that transness is like a choice, maybe.
Or a fetish.
Or a fetish, yeah, like it's tied to some kind of sex fetish, or it's like just something that a person chooses to do. They don't understand that it's a literal neurological wiring thing. It's your brain is wired against your biological sex. That's 100% it. And the best treatment for that is to make the body match the brain, right? That's my understanding of the DSM and treatment of gender dysphoria. And you know, and so I'm a trans advocate because of that. Because I had a friend who I was very close to who came out to me and made me think about it. But how do you give that experience to people who've never had it, who are saying mean things? Maybe they're not like openly oppressive to those people, but they take part in the joking, the mean name calling, and the ooh, she's not passing kind of jokes, or whatever the fuck it was. I used to do that shit. It's muffed up. And I wish I hadn't done it, but you know, I'm glad I did. Because if anything, it's like an object lesson when we're talking about this. I can be really honest, and and you can go back and watch, you know, those old fucking DP shows are still up. I'd say mean things. I mean, a lot of it had to do too, and this is interesting. Let me go here. When I was mean to trans people, it was often when somebody insinuated that I might be attracted to one, and I was still in the closet, remember? And so you have to have, as a straight guy, you have to have a real immediate response when somebody intones that you might like somebody who has a penis.
Well, like the 90s movies, it was all about, like, oh, she's trans, oh no, let's freak out.
Well, you remember the one I showed you
Yeah,
that I
Soap
fucking had
Dish.
forgotten? Soap Dish. Just has like there were so many movies where transness was the joke, or transness was the big reveal or the twist. Somebody that you thought was a woman is really a man. That's usually what it was, 99% of the fucking time.
Soap Dish is weird too, because like they detransition.
Yeah, it's just a weird thing. It's once again it's born out of this like kind of like Neanderthal attitude about it, that transness is just a fetish. It's just a weirdo that has decided I want to look like a woman because it makes me hot or whatever to do that.
Or I want to trick men.
Right, I'm out here to catfish men. I'm just a gay guy that wants to get straight men, and so I dress like a woman. That was the joke back then. That's what trans people were in popular media. Ace Ventura literally plunged his face with a plunger because he kissed a trans woman and found out that she had a penis. At one point, she had actually fully transitioned, I think, at that point. Because at some point he tries to kick her in the nuts, and she just stands there. So that was the joke, is that even though she was a fully transitioned woman, he had to literally vomit in the shower while The Crying Game played, which is an interesting reference because it's like double anti-trans shit. The Crying Game was an Oscar-winning fucking movie in the 80s about a catfishing trans woman. It was like a drama film that got rave reviews, but it was all about a man that pretended to be a woman to get with men, and then she actually fell in love with one, and the one fell in love with her, and then that guy finds out that she's got a penis. So that song, The Crying Game, which Boy George wrote for that movie, The Crying Game, is playing while Ace Ventura plunges his face and vomits in the toilet over and over because his lips touched a trans woman's lips.
So it's very intrinsically linked with homophobia.
Mm-hmm.
As much as like, because like now there's people that are like, oh, I'm fine with gays, but those trans.
Well, it's that same reason.
Yeah.
It's this thought that they're out there to trick you, or that if you're attracted to a trans woman who tells you that she's trans, that makes you gay. And people will lash out at especially trans women, especially because they don't wear a shirt that says, hey, I've got a penis down here.
Or I used to.
Right. Or I was born with a penis. Right. And so they don't lead with that. And so men feel catfished because they got attracted to somebody who they consider to be male. And culturally, that's verboten as a straight man. You can never do that. So I would say mean things about trans people to show how disgusted I was by trans bodies.
By men.
By the male features of a trans body. So, yeah. Pretty fucked up. But I'm glad I went through it because it lets me talk about it and I understand it. I understand why I was mean, and I understand why I had to stop. And I can articulate that, which I think is useful.
And
because
there's transphobia among like the gay community too. Like there's gold star lesbians that never were with a trans woman or whatever.
Yeah, well there's like, I mean, you remember God, I can't remember her name, but in our Trans Trailblazers episode we covered that trans activist who was at the Stonewall, fought for gay rights at the Stonewall, and then the gay rights community basically threw her in the trash because she was trans, because men don't belong in this space. I cannot remember her name for the life of me, but yeah. Remember her friend was murdered too.
Sylvia something?
It was Sylvia something. But she had a black trans friend, remember, that she worked with, who was found floating face up in the harbor in a place known for prostitution and drug dealing and shit. So many trans women end up that way. It's like, what do they call it? Trans panic, right? It's like a defense that men will use. Oh, I found out she had a penis and I flipped out and I killed her. It's like, Jesus. I deal with internalized transphobia because society drills it in so hard that ideas I know are wrong. Oh yeah, for sure. Mine too. Like, just because I don't say those things anymore doesn't mean that I don't have, like, sometimes the impetus to say some of those things. Like, that pattern of thinking, I'll fight it probably the rest of my life. It's easier now than it was 10 years ago. But I was raised in an environment where making fun of those people was a way to establish your firm masculinity. And I was a gay kid or a bi kid who was attracted to boys and girls, who was desperately afraid of his family finding that out. And so I had to be mean to gay people. Or at the very least, that's how I felt as a young man. I had to be mean to show how disdainful I was with the very idea of homosexuality. And that's fucked, because I had gay friends. I had a trans friend that I didn't know was trans at the time that I was making those kinds of jokes at. Unknowingly. Hurting that person over and over and over again. Just another one, but like, that's the thing. I was just another one of the people that hurt that person over and over again. And I was actually friendly with her other times. So that's why I got to be friends with that person. Under normal circumstances, that person would have probably told me to go fuck myself and wouldn't have been friends with me and would have seen me as a bully. And I hate that. I do not ever want to make any person feel that way if I can help it. It sucks. I'm really not proud of that stuff, but it is important that I went through it for me, because I want to talk to people about that and hopefully unharden people's hearts even just a little bit for these people.
Yeah. And like, you don't have to be bi to be into trans women.
No, you don't. No, you don't. But that distinction is completely lost in the 90s. Wasn't even a topic of conversation. Sleeping with a trans woman was sleeping with a man.
You don't care. Do you think animals have any sense of gender?
Gender?
Yeah.
I mean, there are gay animals.
Yeah.
So sure. Yeah. There are gay dogs, gay cats. Gay mammals are pretty common in most mammalian species. Gay dolphins are documented, gay whales.
Do you think they think of them like they recognize that they're the same
No.
sex or no?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't think so, though. I think they're driven by their biology, and their preference is they don't have the cognitive frontal brain to make sense of the preference.
Yeah.
Or to identify why the preference. For them, it's just biological drive to breed. This is how my brain is wired. This is what I'm wired to be attracted to. Let me go fuck it. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Like I feel like they're pretty neutral on it. Like they don't see it as like a aberrant thing.
No, I don't think they see it as aberrant at all. Maybe in certain primate cultures it's seen as aberrant, or at least it's classified aberrant. I could see that being a thing because it's intrinsic in us, it seems.
Yeah.
Maybe not intrinsic. That's the wrong word. I say intrinsic, but if you raise a baby with no homophobia, they're not going to hate gay people. So it's not intrinsic, is it?
Maybe it just depends on how like sexually competitive they are.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably younger than you. I'm 34, and even in the 2000s when I was a teenager, I had to do the same to come off straight, normal guy to avoid getting beat up. Yeah. I mean, for me, it wasn't even really getting beat up. It was just, I didn't want to be the laughing stock of my social group. Period, point blank. I didn't think my friends would fucking desert me en masse, but I knew that from that point forward, I'd be the butt of every other joke. It'd be like I gotta pee. I don't know if I want to go in there with Paul, though. He might be looking at my pecker. It'd be that forever.
Well, like when AIDS was at its height, people were afraid of gay people too, like
That's
actual
true. Well,
genuine fear of like
I grew up in
I
that too.
like I touch them and they're gonna give me the AIDS or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, even in the 90s, when that rumor had been dispelled out of popular culture and we weren't hearing it from authorities anymore, that still lingered. Yeah. I mean, there was there's a term that I will still use that I need to get out of my fucking lexicon. When I'm using 90s gay, I will say that's gayer than AIDS. I mean, how fucked up is that? As a flippant little, I've said it on the show like probably this year.
Yeah. That's why I was like surprised that with Eazy-E they didn't just cast him out when he got diagnosed.
Well, they knew.
Yeah.
But like you heard, they had that scene where
Yeah.
like he asked the doctor, like, I'm not
Yeah.
how the fuck did I get this? Doctor said, no, you don't have to be. You know, like doctors knew, but society didn't. All the society heard was that the transmission rates were higher amongst gay men. And they were. Due to just like the inherent trauma of anal sex, right?
Yeah, it's always going to be higher risk.
It rips the lining and there's blood's barrier breaking
like
stuff.
Not that you can't get it with vaginal sex, but it's just more likely with anal.
Right. I'm in Middle America, so there was definitely a risk I could get my ass kicked for coming out as bi. Yeah. No, I mean, it was a risk for me, but that's not what I remember being afraid of. I wasn't afraid of, because I knew my friends would take up for me, but I didn't want to be ostracized like as a laughing stock in front of everybody for the rest of my life. And that's what I would have been. My friends would have been accepting. The 90s were not like, cast out the gay. It really wasn't that bad. But it was, gay people have got to sit around and be the butt of jokes and the butt of stereotypes till the end of time. That's really what the 90s were. And you've got to sit and listen to people who don't know what your preferences are or whatever the fuck, make really mean, dismissive jokes about you, you know. And it's like, I'll still be in those types of positions. At that fucking Super Bowl party we went to, that guy just talking about the gay agenda, this and that. And it's just like, fuck. Here I am again.
I'm gonna go out and get your stuff. Is there anything you want me to pick you up when I'm out?
Oh, no, I'm good, baby. Just be careful, okay? I love you.
Love you too.
Oh, could you grab me a pack when you're in there?
Yeah.
Thank you. Paul, I genuinely want to get over that nasty brain block that tells me biological male gay sex. It's hard to get over that. Well, you don't have to, though. That's the thing. It's like, it's really about not about your. Thank you, baby. I love you.
I love you too.
It's not about your preferences. It's about how you treat people that have those preferences or those makeups, you know? You don't have to try and be attracted to things that you're not attracted to. It's okay. It's okay to not be attracted to certain physical features in another human being. That's pretty normal. It just is, how do you treat those people? How do you treat people that do have attractions to those things? I don't want to be attracted. I just want to have my speech right. Oh, I see what you mean. I didn't want to call someone dating a trans woman gay. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah. I'm in the same boat, bro. You know, the language I was raised to use is so fundamentally different than the language that's used today. And I do think that on the most part, the language that's used today is proper in comparison, which is why I'm eager to try and adopt it to the best I can, but I still don't know exactly how to talk about things without being unintentionally offensive, I guess, sometimes. but I'm learning. It's like one of the things I've learned to do is because I actually, and it's really cool. I interact with a lot of trans people. There's quite a few trans folks in our audience, and then we recently had Demon Mama, who's a trans woman, and I remember when she first came on, the first time Demon Mama came on. You guys probably don't even remember it, but it was important for me because I didn't want to unintentionally offend Demon Mama. I was calling her dude, and I explained to her, I don't mean to dude you. I'm from California, and I call my mom dude. But if it makes you uncomfortable, I'll stop. She said, no, no, you're fine. You're fine. I try and check in, which I think trans people appreciate. I think. I don't think one has sat down and told me like that's valuable, but I get the feeling that they do, and so I try and do that. I try and touch base with them and let them know that like a bro might slip out of me, but I'm from California and we call our, like I call my little sister bro, and if they're uncomfortable with it, I don't get all defensive and go like, well, I'm not, I didn't mean it that way. Uh, you know, I say, oh, I'm sorry. I understand. Yeah, I'll do my best. I call my mom bro. I do. Yeah. Bro and dude are just a catch-all in California and Cali slang or whatever you want to call it. I never got upset by the dude thing. The difference between hey dude and that's a dude. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Context matters, right? I would never say that's a dude to a trans woman, but yeah, I call a trans woman dude if they're comfortable with it because I call everybody dude. I call my wife dude and bro all the time. A lot of times I'm not even calling a person bro, it's exclamatory. I'll be like, so I looked that guy in the face, and I told him what I thought, and it's like, bro, like, bro is just an exclamatory statement. It's tough, yeah. I mean, I do my best. If I really haven't run into somebody who, after I ask them, has said, "No, I'm really uncomfortable with that." But if I do, I'm gonna do my fucking best. Especially in skater groups. Well, that was my social group in my formative years. How much money to unban me from Patreon? Just create another account, bro. Get another fucking email account. Make a new account. But if you got banned, I don't know. Like, sometimes we're not even the ones that do it. Patreon has its own shit. Sometimes you think you're banned, but it's just your payment got declined too many times and Patreon stopped accepting it from you, and you gotta contact them for that. We can't do nothing about their payment shit. But that's a lot of times people think they're banned, but Patreon has just locked them out because their card declined twice or some shit. Bruh, yeah, bruh is another one I use a lot. That's a more modern one. I didn't say it a whole lot, but it was a thing back when I was a kid. It just wasn't it wasn't like a catch-all like it is now, but I use that a lot now. Bruh. You have to use different payment methods, and I'm all out. My girlfriend won't let me use her cards no more either, but I'll figure it out. Yeah, I mean, get back in, but try not to get banned again, bro. It's my understanding if you're who I think you are, you've been banned 3 fucking times. Like, maybe chill out. I don't know what you've done. I don't ban people over there. It's usually either Scotty or Taylor that'll do that. I mean, Amelia will ban you if you're like saying Nazi shit. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you've been banned out of 3 payment methods, I can't help you with that, bro. Like, I can tell you this, you're not getting banned over there for no reason. Like, we really kind of let people shit on us over there pretty much. It's just if you're a person who's perpetually miserable, you're probably going to get got. No, sir, I was banned and it's an IP ban. Do the other accounts got banned too? Oh, okay. I got you. So it was the IP ban, yeah. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Sucks. Use a VPN. Sounds like your money probably isn't the problem. Yeah, that's the impression that I got when he came into my Discord server. By the way, join discord.gg/Paul. Pretty easy to remember. Discord.gg/Paul. 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 It's the greatest Discord server. Thank you. Join it. It's free and it's fun. And I'm in there all the time. And you can talk to me or listen to me ramble and get stoned. I haven't been playing Helldivers recently, yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of gamers, and so we do like we'll game together a lot. Like we've been doing Helldivers runs. A lot of people in there play team fight tactics and shit. I tried that out. I don't think it's for me. I got a little salty playing that game, but there's a whole community of people that play team fight tactics. There's people that play all kinds of different community type games. I think we're gonna get a Valheim server going in a little while. I know it's hard to get a bunch of people in on that, so it'll probably just be a core group of people. But yeah, we're setting things up. There's also a couple of people who run like DM things on Discord, DMing for like games. They're doing like text based DMing. And they've invited me to stuff and they're real open about it and stuff. And I allow you to kind of like recruit. I don't care as long as you're not like fomenting revolt or whatever. You can talk about other discords and pimp your own out and get. It's just a good place to meet like-minded people, and typically there's like 10, 15, 20 people in the VC. Like even real late at night sometimes there's like 8 or 9 of us chilling in there, listening to music, gaming into the twilight. So come on down. Real easy to remember, right? Discord.gg/Paul. That's enough, though. That's enough shilling. I've got to end this pretty soon because my phone's going to die. That sucks. But I will be chilling over at discord.gg/Paul pretty soon. So if you'd like to see me, I'll see you there. Have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye.